Republican Senator Marco Rubio joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta.
Well, that's not all the president said today about Republicans. He's blasted you for spending all your time repealing the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and he also says you're just spending time seeking cuts for the wealthy. What do you say?
Well, I think he's right about one thing, and that is we should be on the side of people that are struggling to make a living. The problem is that while his idea might poll well initially, it doesn't actually help people who are trying to get ahead. Here's the fundamental fact in the real world. If you own a business that can't really raise prices and you have workers and now you have to pay them more federally mandated, you're going to have to find that money from somewhere. And for some people, that means they're going to lose their job or their hours at work. That's just a fact. It's not me saying it. The Congressional Budget Office has told us that. So I can't support anything that would actually cost people jobs, especially given this economy. I do believe workers need to make more money. I don't think the way you do that is through the minimum wage. But $10.10 an hour is not something we should aspire to for people. We should aspire to $20, $30 an hour. And the way to do that is to create changes to our laws that make America a more attractive place to invest and to innovate, and also helping people to acquire the skills they need for the better paying jobs of a new economy.
Well, he goes a little deeper, though. He says that you're spending all your time repealing Obamacare and that focusing on cuts for the wealthy. He doesn't talk about you trying to help out those who are struggling. He talks about you trying to help the wealthy.
Well, again, this goes back to the same rhetoric of class warfare that they always rely on. The truth is he's been president for 6 years. The very people he ran claiming to want to help are worse off today than they've ever been. Record numbers of people on food stamps, record numbers of people dependent on government. Those are the facts. And so now, desperate to try to create a counter-narrative, their argument is that the only way some people can be better off is if we make other people worse off. The good news is that in America we have free enterprise, and free enterprise means everyone can be better off without making anyone worse off. That's what's made us different from the rest of the world. I wish we had a president that actually believed that.
All right, you have a new bill that you've introduced having to do with stepping up the pressure on Russia. Are you dissatisfied with what the president is doing?
Yeah, I am, and here's why. Because Vladimir Putin has made a decision. He wants to restore Russia and what he thinks would be a great power, and the way to do that is to be able to invade and intimidate their neighbors in their immediate near abroad. And so he's calculated that the benefits of doing what he's doing now, first with Crimea, now in eastern Ukraine, that the benefits outweigh the costs. We have to change that calculation. And that's what these sanctions are all about, is imposing costs to sectors of the Russian economy and individuals in the Russian economy, including Vladimir Putin, so that they can finally determine that the price they're paying is too high.
All right, if it doesn't go your way with the increased sanctions, but whether we stay with what the president has done, what do you expect will happen?
I think what I expect to happen is what's already happening. Russia is using agents in eastern Ukraine to destabilize the government there, to take over government buildings and entire cities, all in anticipation of what's going to be a fraudulent vote that potentially could ask as well to be annexed separate from Ukraine and potentially even become part of Russia. This is the direction they're headed. It's the same strategy they used in Crimea. That's what they're employing now because they've calculated that the costs are not high enough to stop doing it.
How is that a national security issue for us?
Because it's actually an economic issue for us. We cannot allow any country in the world to be afraid to engage us commercially, as Ukraine tried to do in engaging the West, because they're afraid of a more powerful neighbor. In the 21st century, we have to be able to sell our products and our services to any market in the world without being intimidated by a powerful neighbor. If we allow this to stand undeterred, it will set an example not just for Russia, but for China, for Iran, for North Korea, for other countries with hegemonic aspirations to intimidate their neighbors and tell them, if you grow closer to the United States and the West, this is what will happen to you. So it's a direct threat actually to our economy.
Senator, nice to see you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.